British Jamaican band Musical Youth released that song in 1982. It's a simple song about poverty, using the traditional cooking pot, the dutchie. Pass the dutchie on the left hand. Wagwan Jamaica, welcome to another exciting edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Audrey Williams, and I'm here at Fort Charles in Port Royal. Today we're going to delve into our heritage, so don't go anywhere.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Friday, October 13, 2023. The Transport Authority is warning public passenger vehicle PPV operators that it will be taking a zero-tolerance approach to any overcharging of passengers with the increased bus and taxi fares expected to take effect this weekend. Earlier this week, Transport Minister Darrell Vaz announced a 19% fare increase effective Sunday, October 15. During a press conference yesterday, the Transport Authority's Managing Director Ralston Smith said teams from the agency would be closely monitoring the implementation of the increase.
The authority will spare no effort in investigating and prosecuting operators who overcharge passengers.
The act of overcharging is punishable under the Road Traffic Act and regulations, with the offense attracting a maximum fine of $100,000. Mr. Smith says the authority has developed a database to capture and report acts of overcharging, and this information will be shared across the authority's 4 regions.
They will act as the vanguard of public passenger transport, and that duty and responsibility imposed on the Transport Authority is to protect commuters and legitimate PPV operators, and therefore we will not be biased in terms of our investigation.
The Transport Authority is urging commuters who experience acts of overcharging to report these incidents by calling the toll-free line 1-888-991-5687 or 876-926-8912. Commuters can also send videos or photographs to 876-511-8196. Complaints about overcharging should include the license plate number, route, and location of the incident. Airlift capacity will be increased for this year's winter tourist season as Southwest Airlines begins operating a once-weekly flight into the island from Kansas City, Missouri, in the United States. The flight is set to arrive at the Sangston International Airport in Montego Bay on Saturdays during the winter season. On October 7, Portfolio Minister Edmund Bartlett and tourism officials welcomed the inaugural flight with 114 passengers and 6 crew members.
This flight today brings to the reality of how connected Jamaica as a destination is in the United States. You know, we cover 18 gateways that connects us to over 100 cities across the United States. That makes Jamaica the most connected Caribbean destination to the United States.
Minister Bartlett says the increase in air connectivity will continue to improve Jamaica's tourism growth as the island is on track to close the year with approximately 2.9 million stopover visitors.
So the projection for 2024 for travel from the United States is huge and strong. With 72 million baby boomers still able to travel. It's an amazing thing. So we're looking at 140 million potential travelers. Jamaica already has a situation where the United States alone has a market share of 75% of our visitors. That's strong.
More than 1,400 persons in West Central St. Catherine are benefiting from a $95 million investment in the Connors Ginger Ridge water scheme. Water is being sourced from a spring into the pumping network that has a capacity for 50,000 gallons per day. The treated commodity is being pumped to the sandy ground and Ginger Ridge tanks for distribution. Residents will now receive a 7-day water supply through the 9-kilometer transmission and distribution line. Included in the works were the laying of the distribution pipelines, construction of an access road from the Connors Main Road, and the building of a 13,000-gallon sump and elevated pumping station. During the commissioning ceremony on Wednesday, Minister Matthew Samuda said it was part of the government's commitment for an all-island overhaul of the country's water systems.
These projects are important because it means every drop counts, but every drop will be accounted for because you're building a new network right across the length and breadth of the country.
The project was constructed by Rural Water Supply Limited in partnership with the NWC. The Ministry of National Security says measures are being implemented to disrupt the involvement of youth in criminal activities. One of them is the Interministerial School Strategy, IMSS, which is part of the government's social investment for community transformation effort. Portfolio Minister Dr. Horace Chang says this is being implemented to reach the most vulnerable students and their families. They will be provided with access to a holistic, wraparound suite of services to reduce truancy and disrupt their involvement in crime.
That is, we view not only the basic training, but we are introducing programs to reach families and students who require counseling, guidance, and the social security support to lift them out of the low socioeconomic run and get them into productive areas.
The Interministerial School Strategy aims to provide support for students who display antisocial behavior in school. It's a targeted intervention between the Ministries of Education and Youth and National Security to eradicate violence in schools. The strategy initially targeted 34 schools located in the 7 zones of special operation, ZOSOs.
Essentially, we are seeking to restore hope to all these individuals, improving their social and economic life outcomes, and providing and ensuring that all our citizens will have the opportunity to contribute productively to the growth of our country.
Minister Chang was speaking earlier this week at the opening of the newest court store in Portmore Pines. And finally, the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce continues its business roadshows in Montego Bay on October 26. The first was held in Mandeville on August 10, and the third business roadshow is planned for Ocho Rios on November 1. It heads to Kingston on November 21. Micro, small and medium-sized enterprises will be exposed to the services of 20 agencies of the ministry.
So we're taking the agency and the ministry to the ordinary Jamaican people. Ordinary Jamaican people. In Mandeville, in Montego Bay, in Ocho Rios, in Kingston, and then across the smaller places in the country.
Entrepreneurs in the regions are encouraged to come out and familiarize themselves with the agencies of the ministry and to access the various business development services offered. It's also an opportunity for them to display their products and network with other businesses. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
It's time again for the JIS Heritage Photo Competition. Are you a tertiary level student? Compose a photo on the theme, Echoes of Freedom, tracing Jamaica's path from colonialism to republic, and make your best submission. Lots of prizes to be won. Visit jis.gov.jm for competition guidelines. Registration is now open and closes October 31. The JIS Heritage Photo Competition 2023. Enter today.
So, did you know that the British built the Giddy House in 1888 to store weapons? While you're considering that, our next feature will be about music and how it has woven itself into the fabric of our culture.
Music has a huge impact on society.
Music could have influenced our culture in such a way where we'd use it to express how we're feeling.
Music isn't just music.
Since the late 1960s, reggae has dominated the musical landscape of Jamaica. Reggae's beginnings may be traced back to the early years of the Jamaican recording industry, that is, the late 1940s and the early 1950s. Reggae's immediate forefathers were ska and rocksteady. From the latter, reggae adopted the use of the bass as a percussion instrument. Gospel is where a lot of the music that influenced ska, rocksteady, and reggae originated. Gospel reggae is currently the subgenre with the quickest rate of growth. To date, many mainstream artists have switched to or at the very least incorporated gospel reggae in their sets. We speak of artists such as Richie Stephens, Judy Mowatt, Lieutenant Stitchie, Sanchez, Papa San, and Carlene Davis, just to name a few. But what caused the switch from secular music to gospel?
I switched from secular music to gospel music. So the beat remained the same, the sound remained the same. Because it is not the rhythm that is immoral, it's the message that's either moral or immoral. And so I was able to continue to use the rhythm of music to bring the gospel of Jesus to the people.
People dancing in the street to a groovy reggae beat. Yeah, everything in life is bittersweet. Sitting in a rum bar won't get you very far. You think life's a big house and a fancy car. 'Cause your heart can be lonely, though you have life and plenty. Grooving with everyone to the cemetery. You need Jesus in the plan to direct this island. It's not all about seashore and sand.
I started in 1989, actually my first gospel album. This was before my complete transition to my faith. I did a gospel album called Jesus is Only a Prayer Away, and to this day it is still a huge success. But then in 1996, when I recommitted my life to Christ, I did my first official gospel album called Vessel.
When did you fall in love with gospel reggae?
I was heading to church one evening. You know, the guys and were down to church with us holding a vibe. A close friend of mine, he was going Casey at the time. He was a very lyrical, and still is a very lyrical individual. He was freestyling. So we come down to church now, hear the vibes and thing, and it sounds secular-ish to me. So I say, how can I sing dancehall music? You know, the church had a man of respect for the Almighty. So by listening to him and hear what exactly he's saying, I'm like, interesting.
The first song I wrote as gospel song was a song titled Sanctified. And I wrote that song, and I was saying God is fighting my battles, when I'm in conflict, and he will keep me from jail so I don't become a convict. I fight for my battle, yes, when me in a conflict, keep me from jail so me no go turn convict. Touch me little soul so me no go turn bandit. God at the encyclopedia, them a pamphlet. Anywhere me go, me carry the Lord with me. And I was just singing and singing about God, and it felt so good.
The first music that I did was Me No Smoke Weed and a track called Man of God Man, because I thought it was my responsibility to proclaim to the world that a God may I deal with now. I am a God man. And I did a song named Me No Smoke Weed, Feeling High, because before I got saved, I used to smoke. And I liked that feeling that I got. But when I got the encounter with Jesus Christ, I got a greater feeling.
Well, first of all, let me say that UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization, designated reggae music in 2018 as an intangible cultural heritage of humanity. Can I say anything more?
Spiritual me no miss with the psalm them. Want them, make them know God I call them. This a heaven academy and no harden. Nah friend, no devil, no demon cast them out. We a sound up here, Bentley alarm them. Young generation, the Peter, the Paul them. Intricate with the bars, them a haul them. Eradicate every snake way in the garden. Man a preach and a teach. Holy Spirit a make fire unleash. Scriptures a beat, put the devil on a stage. A peculiar thing when the gospel a preach. Me say hear me no, no watch it fear me no. This a no got them sitting no Bruce Wayne no. You coulda hide in a cave and no hear me no. When the judgment it a pass, try save when the wrath of God start on there. Me want see y'all who a go run where. You miss a bad man, yeah, where they gun there. Hey Mr. Lee, me ask where the fun there. You shoulda did a God church every Sunday. I praise God and let people bar where the rum there. How where you live a coulda town or country. Listen to the word where Jesus the son say.
God a cover we just like the ozone. Ooh, grace and blessing just like the rose gold. And the fire it a sparkle it a coast home. Got the party we are running just like the toll road till they say. God a cover we just like the ozone. Ooh, grace and blessing just like the rose gold. And the fire it a sparkle it a coast home. Got the party we are running just like the toll road. I got do it. The money when we make I got do it. Even the care we bitch I got do it. And the enemy couldn't even ruin it. Big dreams big like crane. House on the hill when you see me left the lane. Big beds, spaceship, brown plane. Then we don't a legacy, you know that's lame. Man of God, till the day I die. Daddy billionaire, where you expect I wash in a Jesus blood. And you expect me to stay in the mud. You know see I got do it. The money where we make I got do it. The house where we live I got do it. Prosperity, promotion. You know see I got do it. I got do it.
I want to say to young artists who are in gospel music is that you have to know that this is where you belong. This is what God is saying to you. You have to know that this is my gifting to write and to sing or to play an instrument, and you have to study the Word of God. So when you write, it is words that will complement what God is saying.
There is no doubt that the gospel reggae genre has grown in popularity among Jamaica's Christian and other communities. So let us join its influence and resurrect our reggae legacy.
Do your part to prevent mosquito breeding. Mosquitoes will breed in any container that holds water.
Tightly cover water storage containers such as drums, barrels, buckets and tanks. If this cannot be done, pour cooking oil on the water surface. Punch holes in all tins, plastics and beverage boxes to prevent the collection of water before disposal. Cover all tires or fill with dirt to prevent water collection. Scrub all vases once per week to remove mosquito eggs. Use mosquito repellents to protect yourself from mosquito bites. Dispose of garbage properly by placing in plastic bags and securing properly to prevent water collection.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
On June 7, 1692, an earthquake destroyed Port Royal, submerging 2/3 of the town into the sea. A series of fires and hurricanes followed, and here we are today. As we reminisce on the past, let's look forward to building a brighter and better Jamaica.
While hummingbird melodies resound around the lignum vitae blossom, we thank our ancestors, those etched on the coat of arms, and those embedded in our hearts, for entrusting to us the care and continuation of our shared heritage. Fulfilled by our favorite fruit, we lift our hands in homage to the national flag and anthem. It is in our best interest to preserve and repair this land, because this a Fiwilika island. Let's take every opportunity to thoroughly explore our country while we raise our heads with pride and dignity.
Before God and all mankind, I pledge the love and loyalty of my heart, the wisdom and courage of my mind,
the strength and vigor of my body in the service of my fellow citizens.
I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace, to work diligently and creatively, to think generously and honestly.
Jamaica, may we, under God, increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity, and play our part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race.
Brethren, the road signs make the traffic environment safe. The green light means go. Red means stop. Amber also means stop. Yeah man, it don't mean you must speed up. And get this, even if the light's on green, when the traffic is thick, don't bother move off and block the intersection. And please, don't stop on a pedestrian crossing. Look out for children, the disabled and the elderly. Follow the signs so they all can arrive alive. Be a good road user. Obey the road signs and look out for each other.
Technology is the best predictor of where we're going in the future, and our next feature will highlight how digital textbooks are revolutionizing education.
With just a touch,
with just a swipe, our youth are now able to learn on any device.
With the help of UNICEF's Technical Working Group and the Ministry of Education and Youth Special Education Unit, our young people now have access to digital textbooks. The Universal Design for Learning (UDL) methodology, which is central to accessible digital textbooks (ADT), has allowed for the venture to take root. The first two fully accessible books were released in late September 2022 to allow for greater inclusion of students with disabilities. Now this time around, all students will have access to high-quality, interactive digital textbooks in a variety of languages, including Jamaican Sign Language.
We are very happy to see technology transforming education, particularly in areas where children did not have the accessibility. The integration of technology into education is the next frontier. There is a fear that somehow technology, with all its advancements in artificially developing intelligence, could replace or minimize the role of the teacher. That is absolutely not the case when it comes to education. It means that the teacher now has a more powerful tool with which they can exercise their duties. And of course, you know, it introduces new challenges into the classroom, right? but it also introduces greater opportunities for engagement.
My name is Ari Jones and I am from Danny Williams School for the Deaf.
Ari and others have access to 2 books that were transformed into ADT format for the Jamaican pilot using UDL principles, My Brain is My Boss, and Harriet Hen and the Hawk. Little Harry is using the My Brain is My Boss ADT book to help him grasp the relationship between the brain and the body.
In this effort, we are working to make sure that no one is left behind, and the population that is in our most concern is the disability population. As you know, we have a lot of barriers in the country for this population to enter to the education system yet. But I want to have the opportunity to congratulate the government for the recent passed Disability Act, which paved the way for this population to really have their rights granted in the country.
The Disabilities Act came into effect on February 14, 2022. This followed its approval in 2014 and the affirmation of the Disabilities Regulations in 2021.
Check on your strong friends. Having gone through postpartum depression after having my daughter, I know what mental illness can be like.
You may be the one to provide someone with a haven.
Very much true, because, like she said, you don't know what people are going through. It's also important to know within yourself what's going on, because you yourself know you better than anyone else could possibly know you.
Being able to be your true self is one of the strongest components of good mental health. You can whisper how you feel, or you can shout it out loud, but in whatever you do, if you need help, say something.
We've come to the end of our program. Get a recap of everything you saw here and more on our website, gis.gov.jm. And just a reminder, sustain progressive movement. I'm Audrey Williams. Bye for now.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.